I'm glad to be here with Franklin, all the way from the UK. Franklin is a level 3 funded trader with us with the 5ers Fund. Franklin, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm perfect. Thank you. Introduce yourself to the public. How long have you been trading? How do you start in this business? A little words.
My name is Franklin, 27 years old, currently living in the UK. I first came around trading back in 2015, and it was from a housemate that I had around that time. I think they had a few friends over their house, and I could see straight away that these guys were, they were discussing something that was very energetic. That's something that was very important because all of a sudden everybody's just happy, everybody's sort of celebrating, and I never knew exactly what they were talking about at that time. So when the friends left, I remember sitting down with the housemate and having that conversation and saying, "Hey, what were you guys talking about?" Right? I haven't seen that much excitement in in a group of guys in a very long time. And he explained what they were talking about trading. And at that time, I didn't know exactly what trading was. I had absolutely no idea. He basically mentioned that trading is something that you do of where you buy something that is low and you sell it when it's high. You make the difference. And then you also sell something that is high, buy it again when it is low. And of course, you make the difference. So that was all I knew. That was all I knew for trading for at least 2 years, right? At least 2 years. And I say that because from that moment on up until I'd say early 2018, I tried to trade completely on my own. I tried to just work with that concept of where I'd see something that has risen quite a lot and I would sell it, or I'd see something that has fallen quite a lot and I would buy it. And with some luck, that worked a little bit, right? So I've never blown an account. But at the same time, that was all that I knew, unfortunately. Now, I never made much progress back then, right? Never made much progress back then. So the real progress came for me in 2018, where I came across a guy called Etienne, which a lot of your viewers may know, actually. And what's so great about Etienne is that he does these interviews with professional traders. And in those interviews, you get a glimpse of where these guys have started and where these guys are right now. Me hearing those interviews, I was able to connect with those guys. I was able to understand that, oh, right. So trading, there's a way of doing trading, and trading is possible. And this is what these guys are doing, or this is what these guys did. And one of the things that you realize after you've gone through a lot of interviews is that they all talk about three areas of trading. One of them being risk management, trading education, and psychology, and all the other bits and bobs. And that was the first time I realized that trading education actually exists. And I was like, oh my God, right? Oh my, and all of a sudden it made sense why I wasn't making as much progress as I had wanted. I wasn't feeling like I was going anywhere. I was sort of feeling like I was lost. It sort of makes sense because in those first 2 years, I had no idea of risk management. I had no idea of take profits. I had no idea of Forex as a whole. I was trading everything. So you can imagine Forex, you can imagine commodities, you can imagine stocks, whatever was moving, I was trading. So yeah, I am a product of Etienne and desire to trade in a sense. To start off with, and then I found my way through other trading gurus out there. One of them being Mark Douglas, which we'll talk about later on. Towards the end of 2019, I became consistently profitable, and then actually became a six-figure trader towards the beginning of 2020.
Wow, congrats on your journey. It's super important to get educated before doing anything, and trading is not the exception. So that's the right path.
Absolutely.
Great, Franklin. So I would like to share for everyone your accounts. You started as every trader start with us on a 20K account. There's some things that I would like to highlight for everyone because it's very insightful. The first, that you completed your level 1, your first level, in relatively few trades, and you kept a super high risk reward ratio, more than 6, which we rarely see that. So
okay,
I would like you to share with the traders a little bit of what you do, what's your strategy, what's your approach to the market in order to achieve that large risk-reward ratio?
Yeah. So one of the things that I realized when I was really starting to understand trading was that the simpler your strategy, the easier it is to trade it, right? And another important concept, and I heard this a really long time ago, but I never paid much attention to it, was that you should trade with the trend. And once I was able to figure out exactly how to identify the trend, that was what I then decided to focus on. So my strategy is actually very, very simple. Everything is happening in one time frame, so the 1 hour time frame. So I don't do multiple time frame analysis at all. I did in the beginning, but that did make my trading a bit more complex. And almost all the time, I needed to have some sort of a device that had a large screen, such as a let's say a tablet or a laptop, to actually do any sort of analysis. But when I moved and when I simplified my trading to the strategy that I use now, everything became incredibly easy to a point where a lot of my trades are actually carried from my phone. So my trading is, the first thing is it follows the trend. So it first identifies the trend, and then it actually looks for trends that are losing momentum, right? So the name of my strategy is called exhaustion. So we're looking for trends that are exhausting, right? I'm a very big fan of getting involved in a trend at the early stages, because that's where the big guys get involved. That's where you can make the most money. That's where you can milk the most juice, whichever term you like. So I'm looking for an exhausted trend. And as it is changing direction, right? So let's say you're in an uptrend, as you are changing direction into a downtrend, I'm also looking for momentum towards that brand new direction. So once I see a trend that has changed direction, and it is also showing momentum towards a new direction, I'm in. And I think that's one of the reasons why my rewards are quite large, because I am able to get in at such an early stage. Number one. Number two, once I'm in the trade, and I'm in a certain amount of profits, I actually move my stop loss. And my stop loss would be moved to secure some profits. And after I have secured the profits, so that means I've removed all of my risk, I'm also looking to scale in, right? Only where appropriable. So by that I mean, okay, I'm in a brand new trend. This trend's going. Is it still showing momentum? So is it still showing large probability or large likelihood that it is going to carry on in that direction? So if that's the case, then I'm more than happy to scale in or add a brand new trade.
Okay, and how would you identify an exhaustion on a trend, for example?
Okay, so it's looking at the trends, so looking at the impulses and deciding, is it losing momentum? And over the years, I've learned multiple ways of how you can identify whether a trend is losing momentum or not. One of the most common ways of identifying whether a trend is losing momentum or not is the size of the impulses. Okay. Right? So we know a trend is made up of multiple impulses. So as one impulse is happening over another, is that brand new impulse bigger or smaller than the previous impulse? If it's bigger, we're seeing that could be a sign of, and it's never a guarantee, it's always probability. So you've got to keep that in mind. So if you're seeing a bigger impulse, then what that usually tends to mean is that there is a higher probability, right? Higher probability that the momentum is increasing. And if that impulse is smaller, then that would indicate that there is a smaller probability that the momentum is decreasing.
Nice. And I also see you focus only in 4 pairs, at least on that account. So you're very focused on looking for many currency pairs. And and also something interesting is you started actually first trades were losing trades. So you actually started in a little bit of drawdown. I would like to know and hear from you, what do you do in order to overcome that drawdown and eventually go all the way to the target?
So I'm really big on psychology. Really, really, really big on psychology. When I first came around trading, I came across a guy called Adam Kuhu, who is a trading guru for both Forex and stocks. And I think he also has multiple other businesses. One of his other businesses is where he talks about the mind. And I remember him talking about trading and said, And he basically described 3 areas in trading. Said that I think it was 15% was risk/money management. 20% would be the strategy or your trading system, and then the remaining 65%, that would be psychology, right? So coming across that video, it really made me realize that even if I had a great system, even if I had great money management, I still didn't have most of what is required to be a successful or a consistently profitable trader. So upon that time, I really did start focusing on psychology. And as I did that, I came across a guy called Mark Douglas. Trading in the Zone is a book that I've read nearly 40 times. I'm either reading it or listening to it. And it hasn't just changed my trading, it's changed my life completely, especially at the part where he talks about beliefs and what beliefs are, because you very soon realize that the beliefs that he's talking about, especially with examples, they are occurring in your life, right? They are part of who you are, and so on. Anyway, so through my strengthening and my understanding of psychology and how my mind works and how I can control my mind in order to produce a particular type of performance, I was able to really, really easily come out of that drawdown. And it's important for me to remember that trading is a probability game. So as long as I have done my research, as long as I have data that supports the way I am trading, I shouldn't change the way I am trading. Right? So I've learned the power of not to use emotions or not to use my thoughts. And as a result of that, I'm only using my trading plan. And that trading plan came, or it was put together from the results or the data that I had collected from doing hours and hours of back testing on my strategy. So my strategy so looking at my data, my strategy tells me that you are going to have a little bit you are going to have some losses, but they're not going to be of a huge amount as long as you take every single trade, right? There's a term that I heard the other day that the casino never turns down a gambler. So I personally should not be, picking trades. And especially if you've listened to Mark Douglas, he talks about how there is a random distribution of winners and losers. So if that's the case, then how would you be able to pick trades? So me being in that situation, I didn't then have this overwhelming feeling of, I should only find, this trade, I should only take that trade. I just kept taking every single trade as if I was absolutely normal, as if nothing was happening. So yeah, and I came out of it really, really well.
Congrats on that. Powerful words, because a lot of traders, once they're in a losing stage, they struggle to recover. So those are great words and great advices. And then, so you completed your first account and you advanced to a 80K account.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you 2 things about this account. First, to highlight that you completed in only 16 trades, which is very impressive. That's super fast. So you made 10% or even a little bit more of 10% in only 16 deals. How did you prepare mentally, and the strategy, of course, to these 4 times larger account than the previous one?
Yeah. The only thing I did was adjust my lot sizes and my risk management. That is the only thing I changed. One other thing that I've also learned, again, from my time of learning how to trade, the best way to look at the capital that you're trading is not the money itself, right? So look at the percentages. That is how professional traders or traders that are trading a really, really large accounts do. They don't focus on the value of the money. They focus on the percentage of the accounts. So that I've learned to do the exact same thing. So the moment I moved from a 20K account to a 80K account, the only thing that changed was the lot size. That was it.
Okay, so you completed this one, and now you are trading level 3 account, which I'll show. You wanted to share some thoughts about this current account. You're just starting with it. You have placed only 4 trades on it, and you wanted to share some insights about this account. And I would like to hear what are your plans for this account.
So the general plan. So I'm part of a community. So I am a co-founder of a community called Atrio FX. And how this entire opportunity of myself working with you came about was that we started offering a service that was called the Funded Account Program. And the purpose of that service was to closely work with traders to actually develop the skills required to work with investors such as yourselves. So we then had an idea that instead of just telling and advising traders how they can become or how they can acquire the skills required to work with the investors, we came up with the idea of actually showing them that what we are advising, what we are suggesting actually works. And from that idea, I decided to start to start this process of where I am working with you. So the entire process of this account is to display and show the traders exactly what they can do and exactly what they can achieve if they follow those advices and suggestions that we offer them in that funded account service. So this account is completely transparent. So all the traders in the community are able to see this account. And I want to talk about the drawdown because it's very easy to talk about trading when you are, when you're in profit or when you are on the high, right? But I think it's even more important to talk about trading when you are in drawdown. Now, it's clear that I have proven that I have the skills or the knowledge required to get out of a lowdown. So the traders that are watching this, the traders that are seeing this account in this particular moment, I want you to be aware that in this moment, I am doing exactly what I have always been doing. Nothing is changing. So if you were to look at my lot sizes, you'd see that they are exactly the same. And it's important because, as previously mentioned, sometimes we can start to use our emotions, right? We can't start to use our thoughts, but it's also important to understand that those two factors, emotions and thoughts, they fluctuate. So when you're using those factors to decide whether you should take a trade or you shouldn't take a trade, what you're actually doing is you are taking the consistency out of your trading away, because the factors that you're using are fluctuating. You cannot, or it's very difficult to find consistency when your factors are continuously fluctuating. So I'd like to advise that when you are in a drawdown, please carry on with your trading, assuming that your strategy or your trading plan is backed up by data, not by what other people think or by how you feel in that particular time. So as long as your data or your strategy is backed up by data, please carry on trading the exact same way.
Yeah, I'm certain that this little drawdown will look soon enough like this little drawdown right here before it goes all the way to the top.
Absolutely. And between me and you and everybody that's watching this, that drawdown should not exist at all, actually. I missed a trade just the other day, which should have completely taken me out of drawdown. But missing trades happened. A trade occurred when I was asleep. I can't beat myself up over that. So,
frankly, I would like to maybe, someone who's watching this video and maybe starting on the first level and looks very, very far to achieve higher levels of funding, what would you advise them to do? What would you tell them when they're just starting their path?
Yeah, so fun enough, that question comes to be because I think just over 3 weeks ago, my trading community, Atrio FX, and by the way, for those of you that are interested in finding some very valuable information and knowledge regarding trading, please follow Atrio FX on Instagram at Atrio FX. So 3 weeks ago, we launched some content regarding how a trader can improve their trading results. And I think we suggested 7 different things. Now, I'm not going to sit here and name every single one of them. We'd be here for a while. But I would like to just mention a few because I think they link quite closely and quite well with what you've just asked. So number 1 is, I want you to find a mentor. I want you to find somebody who knows what they're doing. And a definition of a mentor would be somebody who has what you want, right? One of the things that I've come across and I've noticed upon the journey of trying to find success in both trading and personal life is that successful people have mentors. And individuals that have mentors have substantially a much higher probability of getting what they want compared to individuals that don't have mentors. So find a mentor. A mentor would be somebody who has exactly what you want, and they must be able to show it. They must be able to prove it physically, right? There's no point you going to somebody who's, let's say, a 5-figure trader and asking them how to be a 6-figure trader. If they knew, they would be a 6-figure trader, right? It's one of those things. I once heard a saying, there's no point you going to a sick doctor if you want to get well. If they knew, right, that'd be, so decide what you want. So do you want to be a 5-figure trader? Do you want to be a 6-figure trader? And then find somebody who has that, right? The benefit of having a mentor is that they would be able, or there's a high probability that they have the right guidance because they have what you want, right? And it's very difficult you doing something on your own for the very first time. Or very difficult you doing something right or correct for the very first time because you've never done it, right? So how would you know whether where you're going is the right way? So yeah, find somebody who has what you want, who is at the destination in which you are embarking on, and they have a higher probability of actually helping you get there. Maybe point number 2, signal services. When you're beginning, it's very tempting to use signal services, but unfortunately, they are hindering your chances of becoming a independent, consistently profitable trader, right? Because you are going to need to learn, you are going to need to constantly improve, and you can't do that if you are being mouth-fed everything. You can't do that if somebody else is doing the work for you. All of a sudden, their mistakes become your mistakes, even though there's nothing going on in your life, even though your life is running perfectly well, right? And you can't fix something you don't understand, right? So you need to be independent. Every 6-figure trader, anybody who is consistently profitable, right, is an independent trader. So signals are great, but they are hindering your performances. So please bear that in mind. And last one, please only belong to one community. When you are belonging in multiple communities, you are being given different advices, right? And as you are being given different advices, it's very difficult for you to focus on one because you're being pulled in all sorts of directions, right? This person says, take the next right. The next person says, take the next left. The next one just says, keep going. Where do you go? Right? Where do you go? So you are unable to really focus on one thing or focused on one route and actually get to that destination. You will find yourself going left, right, center, backwards, and it just won't help you, right? So please only focus on one community until you get the idea that this is not allowing me to make the progress that I want, and then move. Right? Because many of us, we're in multiple Telegram groups, we're in multiple communities. They're all doing things completely different. And there are a million ways of trading, but you need to figure out one that works for you. And you can't figure out which one works for you best if you are, if you're touching and kind of getting a feel of many. That's quite difficult. But yeah, for more advices such as those, please look at us on Instagram at @RealFX.com.
Great advices. Thanks for sharing that. And okay, Franklin, just maybe your overall experience, just a few words about your overall experience with the 5ers, and I think that will be it.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for taking your time to having me on one of these interviews. I'm a big fan of these interviews. I try and watch every single one because you can always find clues. There's a saying that success leaves clues. So I believe that everybody that you've had on these interviews has been very successful, and just hearing their little stories about what they've done, how they've done certain things, constantly helps me. And I am a student of the game, and I plan on being for a very long time. Overall, my experience on Fiverr has been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I've worked with multiple prop firms. I think you stand out. First of all, your customer service, it's fast, right? It's efficient. You talk to somebody, they are very knowledgeable, and things just get done straight away. The process of moving from my evaluation to my first account took hours, right? The payout process again took hours, and even when I was doing certain things wrong, such as the invoice, the support that came from that was extraordinary. I think when I was choosing a method of payment, I think I had made a certain mistake, and I wasn't aware that I had done it. But the way you guys handled it, the way you offered different options and services, yeah, I was very, very impressed. That makes you guys stand out. That's number one. Number two, your growth program really sets you apart from everybody else. We're in a period of where a lot of companies are coming up trying to do what you're doing, but even though there is new competition, you guys are still up there just because of your structure, because of the way you do things. And I really like it because it attracts traders that have a long-term view, right? Long-term view. And I'm certainly one of them, and I can't wait to get to that 1.28 million funding, and hopefully that happens in the near future.
Thanks for the words, Franklin, and I really appreciate the time and the interview and the words and the advices, and to showing and share with everyone your performance and your knowledge. So thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
No worries. Thank you for your time.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.